Hello everyone, it's Joey and I'm back again. A lot has happened and I'm really back to accompany you. Thank you so much for being here and supporting me. It truly is a great motivation for me to continue this work. Thank you very much. In today's video, I will guide you on how to sew sleeveless blouse and a similar design dress for girls. They follow similar sewing steps, so I combined the instructions in this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below the video and I'll respond as soon as possible. The blouse is quite loose-fitting, covering any imperfections around the waist, making it suitable for almost all body types, especially if you're pregnant or plus size. This is a fantastic design for you. To better understand your body shape, please find the video link in the description box. And without keeping you waiting any longer, let's get started. Sewing patterns can be found in the description box. When downloading the pattern, print it on A4 paper with a 100% scale. Make sure the dimensions are printed correctly by checking the size of the square box. Spread out the pages and use tape to attach the pieces together. Align the pages precisely so that the pattern is accurate. Then use pen to connect the parts that the printer couldn't print, making sure the pattern is continuous. And then cut them out. This is a snatch shortened silk fabric I mentioned earlier in this video. The soft fabric provides comfort, femininity, sweetness, and elegance to the wearer. Fold the fabric in half lengthwise. Place the fold line of the front pattern on the fabric fold. Pin the pattern and fabric together, and then cut the fabric. The pattern already includes a 1.27 cm seam allowance. Cut the back piece the same way as the front piece. Cut the cover front pieces on the fabric, following the lengthwise grain. Cut the back step on the fabric at a 40-50. For the first step, we'll start with the cover front piece. Cut the fabric lengthwise. Next, sew the curved bottom of the cover, folding the fabric edge towards the right side by 1.27 cm, then top stitch. To make the stitching easier, use specialized raster foot for this type of stitch. Gently adjust the fold and remember not to stretch the fabric while sewing. Curved seams tend to stretch out the fabric's edge, making the surface less flat than before. That's why after sewing, we need to iron it so to heat will help the fabric fibers return to their original shape. Then, trim the excess fabric close to the seam, leaving about 0.1 cm from the seam. Fold it in and top stitch. Use steam iron to press it. Next, we'll work on the front. First, fold the right sides of the fabric together and press the dart flat. Then sew the dart from the outside inwards and extend the stitch 3 cm beyond the end to secure the seam and prevent it from unraveling during wear. At this step, if you are sewing the dress for a girl, please skip this. Now, let's move on to the back bodice pattern. I'm sewing the back step onto the curved neckline of the back. Place the right sides of the fabric together, and I'm using a 1.27 cm seam allowance. Use scissors to trim the fabric edge close to the seam, leaving about 0.3 cm from the seam. Then I fold it twice to finish this curve without stitching. And press. Now, let's join the three pieces together. First, I fold the wrong sides of the two cover front pieces together and secure them with pins. Then, place the right side of the back on the right side of the cover, and then place the wrong side of the front on the wrong side of the back. Pin the three pieces together at the shoulder seam. The method helps hide the seam allowance, making the inside of the balloon look neat. And sew them. Stretch the fabric and press. Next, we'll finish the side seams. Use scissors to trim any uneven fabric cuts during the sewing process. Place the wrong sides of the front and back bodies together. And then place the right side of the cover on the right side of the back bodies. Watch closely on the screen for better understanding and pin them together. Measure 2 cm from the bottom edge of the cover front and then use scissors to clip the seam allowance by 0.5 cm and sew from the armhole to the notch. Continue using scissors to clip into the seam allowance about 0.1 cm from the seam without cutting through the seam. Then press it. With the right sides of the front and back facing each other, sew the side seams. Fold the seam allowance towards the back and press it. Trim the straight edge of the seam allowance from ½ inches to 1/8 inches of the back and the cover. Fold the facing under towards the wrong side and fold towards the wrong side of the main fabric and sew by merging. This is a flat felted seam. and press. Trim off the excess fabric. Pin the neckline at the front and the cover together. Next, place the right side of the bicep on the wrong side of the neckline. Pin and sew 1.27 cm from the fabric edge. Use scissors to trim the fabric edge close to the seam, leaving 0.3 cm from the seam. Next, I use sewing needle threaded with double thread to turn the tape to the right side. Tie a double knot at the end of the thread. Then, insert the thread on the right side of the bicep and sew a back stitch at the narrow end. Lift the breast of foot, rotate the bicep 90 degrees and sew up to the neckline. Then stop. Use scissors to clip the corner and trim the fabric edge close to the seam, leaving 0.3 cm from the seam. Repeat for the other end. Then, finish the neckline as curve of the back. And press. Next, complete the armhole seams at the curve of the back. Finally, sew the hemline. First, fold the fabric edge to the wrong side by 1.27 cm, then toe stitch along the fold. Gently align the fold. Remember not to stretch the fabric while sewing. After sewing, we need to press it so the heat of the iron helps the fabric fibers return to the original shape. Then trim the excess fabric close to the seam, leaving about 0.2 cm from the seam. Next, fold the fabric up by 1.27 cm to sew the hem. Lastly, press everything. The hem is curved so it may twist while sewing. At this point, set the iron to the appropriate temperature and use the hand to gently stretch the hem to smooth out the twist before pressing it. After ironing, use tailor's clapper to press it down. And I'm done with the tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. Please subscribe to my channel to receive my videos. Thank you for watching the video. See you next time. Bye!